The picture you're looking at right now is the picture of the man who authoring and releasing the first truly global computer virus that had disrupted the operations of businesses and government agencies the world over, from Ford and Merrill Lynch to the Pentagon and the British Parliament, and was on track to cause an estimated $10 billion in damages, all in the name of love. 2 decades later, this virus still holds the distinction of being one of the most widespread cyber threats, impacting tens of millions of computers globally.
New dangers tonight from the LoveBug computer virus, this time disguised as a friendlier email.
Wearing a striped shirt and Matrix-style dark glasses, Onel de Guzman stared at the floor as he made his way through a crowd of photographers into a hastily arranged press conference in Quezon City, a suburb of the Philippines' capital Manila. De Guzman's lawyer Rolando Quimbo had to lean in close to hear the 23-year-old's mumbled response, which he then repeated in English for the waiting press. In the afternoon of May 4, 2000, Michael Gazzaley found himself in his office at Star Computer City, a hub of IT companies and electronics shops in Hong Kong. He and his business partner, Mark Webb Johnson, had recently founded NetworkBox, an information security firm specializing in online threat protection. They were seasoned professionals who had just tackled the Y2K bug challenge. Suddenly, all the phones in Gazzaley's office began ringing simultaneously. Their clients and even non-customers were in a panic, desperately seeking NetworkBox's help to combat a virus rapidly infiltrating their systems, causing data destruction and corruption. The common thread in all their stories was an email with the subject "I love you" and the message "Kindly check the attached love letter coming from me." When recipients opened what seemed to be a text file, it was in fact an executable program posing as one. The virus took control swiftly, sending itself to everyone in their email address book. This chain reaction continued as recipients opened the attachment, believing it to be a peculiar joke or a genuine love letter. As a result, office email servers were overwhelmed as thousands of love letters circulated, further disseminating the virus. It was far more malicious than a simple chain letter. Simultaneously, the "I love you" virus ravaged victims' hard drives, renaming and deleting numerous files. Many of the distressed callers Gazzaley dealt with had no backups, and he had the unenviable task of informing them that a substantial portion of their files, from financial records to personal photos and music, were likely lost forever. In 2000, the concept of the Internet was still relatively new. According to ITU statistics, only a fraction of the population in countries like Hong Kong, the United Kingdom, France, and the United States had Internet access. For example, in the United States, where the Internet was born, only around 43% of Americans were online. As the virus wreaked havoc on the communications and file systems of investment banks, public relations firms, and the Dow Jones Newswire, the love bug continued to spread westward as the workday of May 4th unfolded. "I love you" was a computer worm crafted to propagate via emails sent to Microsoft Outlook users. Its initial victims received an unmistakable email with the subject line "I love you" in the uncluttered confines of their mailbox. It was hard to overlook. The email came with an attachment named loveletterforyou.txt.vbs. Upon the unwitting recipient's download and opening of the infected file, "I love you" sprang into action. It commenced its onslaught by overwriting or concealing a multitude of files on the compromised computer, commonly targeting file types such as JPGs, MP2, MP3, and various document files. This extensive file replacement often left the affected machine inoperable. Subsequently, having infiltrated the victim's Microsoft Outlook, the malware sends itself to all addresses found in the Outlook address book. The "I love you" worm had its origins in the Pandacan neighborhood of Manila, Philippines. It began its destructive journey westward across the world as employees commenced their workday on the following Friday morning, first spreading to Hong Kong, then across Europe, and eventually reaching the United States. The outbreak caused estimated damages ranging from $5.5 to $8.7 billion worldwide, with removal costs projected at $10 to $15 billion. Within just 10 days, over 50 million infections were reported, affecting an estimated 10% of internet-connected computers globally. The damage primarily involved the time and effort required to eliminate the infection and recover files from backups. In response to this cyber crisis, organizations such as the Pentagon, CIA, the British Parliament, and many major corporations made the unprecedented decision to shut down their email systems completely. At the time, this incident ranked as one of the most destructive computer-related disasters in the world. Shortly after its launch, multiple versions of I Love You began circulating in the wild, each targeting different files and exhibiting modified behavior, such as altering email subject lines. Some of the subject lines used joke, important, read carefully, or friend message, and other subject matters were disguised as an airline ticket receipt from Arab Airlines, a rage-filled email presumably from a friend, an antivirus solution designed to protect against I Love You, and even a Mother's Day gift or a holiday celebrated in the US. As security professionals raced to create remedies for the malware, many initially focused on an older version, which rendered their efforts less effective. This situation led to a cyber attack for which we were ill-prepared. I Love You continued to infect millions of machines, and its ability to spread further with each victim, combined with emails appearing to come from familiar addresses, made it particularly deceptive. This familiarity caused people to lower their guard and open the love letter, leading to a widespread outbreak. De Guzman, who was facing financial difficulties and struggling to afford internet access, developed the computer worm with the intention of pilfering other users' passwords. His plan was to use these stolen credentials to log into their internet accounts without having to pay for the service. De Guzman justified his actions based on his belief that internet access is a fundamental human right, and therefore, he didn't consider it as theft. The worm was constructed using the principles outlined in de Guzman's undergraduate thesis at AMA Computer College. He pointed out that the worm's creation was relatively straightforward, thanks to a vulnerability in Windows 95 that executed code from email attachments when the user clicked on them. Initially designed to operate only in Manila, he removed this geographic restriction out of curiosity, unintentionally enabling the worm to spread globally. De Guzman did not anticipate the worldwide impact that his creation would have. At the time of the I Love You incident, there were no laws in the Philippines specifically addressing the creation of malware. Consequently, both Rionel Ramones and Ono de Guzman were released with all charges dropped by state prosecutors. To address this legislative gap, the Philippine Congress passed Republic Act No. 8792, also known as the E-Commerce Law, in July 2000, just months after the worm outbreak. In 2012, the Smithsonian Institution recognized I Love You as one of the top 10 most destructive computer viruses in history. Ono de Guzman, the creator of the virus, sought to avoid public attention. His last public appearance was at a 2000 press conference, during which he obscured his face and let his lawyer answer most questions. For 2 decades, his whereabouts remained unknown. However, in May 2020, investigative journalist Jeff White revealed that he had located Ono de Guzman working at a mobile phone repair stall in Manila. De Guzman admitted to creating and releasing the virus during this encounter. Indeed, the year 2000 marked a different era in the world of computer programming and cyber threats. Back then, creating malware was often seen as a hobby or a means to showcase one's programming skills to peers and friends. However, I Love You served as a wake-up call, demonstrating the true potency and destructiveness of malicious programs. It played a pivotal role in reshaping the cybercrime landscape and raising awareness about the far-reaching consequences of such activities. Today, the cybersecurity landscape has evolved significantly, with a heightened focus on protecting digital assets and combating cyber threats.